If you're looking for a stove for your tent, I'm going to show you the large, the medium, the small, just briefly, but I really want to focus on this new stove. It's the panel lock stove that's just come out by Colorado Stoves. It looks big in that box, but let me show you from a different perspective. The large there on the bottom weighs 92 pounds. It's 59 liters. The medium is 77 pounds. The small is 48 pounds. The panel lock is only 37 pounds. The box is kind of deceiving though, because a lot of that is just padding. So let me open this up and show you what I mean. You'll notice when I pull this out, you really have two bags. You've got the actual stove bag. That's the stove right there, all of it, except for the legs. The legs are in this other one along with the stovepipe, but you've just got these two bags and then the rest is kind of filling in there. Oh, there is this collar that goes on top of the tent on the outside over the stove jack. It fits between like 4 and 6 inches. So that's really what it looks like. Very small, very compact, very lightweight. So let me show you some of the features of it. This is what it looks like assembled. It's got a damper in the front with a spark arrestor mesh there, and it latches closed, but that kind of swivels so you can open it and control some of the airflow. It also has its own damper in the stovepipe as well. The cylinder stoves don't need that damper in the stovepipe, so they don't have that. But this one has more seams and lets more air through, so the damper actually serves a more of a fundamental purpose in that one. But you can see as I compare them there, again, the one on the bottom that's the large is 59 liters, and this panel lock one is 60. So very, very similar. So let's put it together and you can decide for yourself whether you like the panel lock system or whether you like the cylinder system. The panel lock just came out in fall of 2025. When you unbox it, this is what it looks like. You've got this foam padding around it. You can chuck that. You won't need to wrap it back up in that or anything. And then I'll show you the panels. That's the top. It's got the stovepipe. This is the spark arrestor that goes on top of the stovepipe. And then we've got the panels. That's the front door, obviously. And then you've got the top and the bottom. Oh no, those are the sides. That one's the bottom with the 4 holes. This right here on this video is me for the first time ever seeing this. So I step away, look at the instructions. If you look at the instructions online, there's only a few steps, and Kodiak always makes me feel dumb. I overcomplicate the things that they design, and this is one of those. Kodiak is the parent company of Colorado Cylinder, by the way. So it's pretty easy. I grabbed the instructions again because I'm like, it can't be that easy, can it? But they just fit together. They have grooves. So the two sides and the back, as well as the front, fit into those grooves, and it kind of holds pretty snug. I mean, you wouldn't want to leave it like that, but you can see it kind of holds itself in place. Then you put the bottom on. I grab the instructions again to see if it matters whether I put the bottom or the top on. And you put the top with the hole towards the back because you want the fire to burn and go out the stove pipe out the back. And then inside this bag, you've got the nested stovepipe, and there's a fire poker as well right here, which comes in handy. And then you've got the 4 legs. And the 4 legs, they actually go inside the stove through the bottom all the way, and they attach to the top. So they go through the bottom, attach to those 4 holes on the top, and that's how it holds the top and the bottom to itself. I sped all this up 4 times so you don't have to watch, so you can see everything a bit more simple. But the threads I feel like I turned them forever. They're pretty long threads, and they end up sticking out the top by about 1/4 of an inch. But the way to see if you're doing it right is you look through the door. You can see that I did not do it right there. I need to pop that bottom right part down into the groove, which was pretty easy, as you can see there. And then I tightened the leg to hold it in place. And like I said, you've got the threads actually come out the top by about 1/4 of an inch. Not too much, but that shows you how far, that confirms to you that they're inside the threads. And you can see the way that this is made It's made to expand and contract, kind of like a heating and air cooling system in your home, where when the vents turn on and it heats up, you might hear some noise. It's no different with a stove like this. So this comes with a damper. The damper is not installed into the stovepipe, but it's quite easy. It has a spring. You push on the spring, turn it into the groove, and then you're able just to pull that out. The bottom pull section of the stovepipe, and they're all numbered, and it says number 1. You can't see it on the screen. You have to just trust me. It says number 1, but it has pre-drilled holes, and you put the circular part in with your arm, hold it in place while you push the handle down. And like I said, it's spring loaded, so you push it in and it will just lock into place. And then as you see, you can kind of control the airflow as you open and close that. When it's parallel, when the handle is parallel with the stove, then it is open. We need to season this though. Trust me, you do not want to just show up to camp with this unseasoned. It is going to burn your eyes. You need to burn the chemicals. I don't know what the chemical reaction is, but there's something that happens to the stove and it starts to patina, and you can see, I'll show you what I mean in a second, but we're going to burn this hot. I would never burn this hot inside an actual tent. You just don't need to. But when you first start to burn in one of these, you're going to see smoke come out of some of the seams. And even on the cylinder ones, you'll see it'll come kind of out the front door until it gets hot enough, and then it pulls it up through that stovepipe and vacuums all the air upwards. But like I said, I sped this up so you can kind of see what happens in this seasoning process. This beautiful chrome stove is about to look like a real stove and not like a fixture in your kitchen. I think it looks really neat. But it shifts. Did you see the stovepipe kind of shift a little bit? I had to take the fire poker and push it kind of back into place. When you're in your tent, the stove jack will hold it into place. It'll hold it upright. But right now, it's just the recessed part about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches that's holding it down. But you can see right before your eyes, did you see that? The chrome look disappeared. If you were doing that inside a tent, you'd actually see this, you'd see kind of smoke. It's smelly. If you've never done this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's no different with the panel lock one. Even though it's stainless steel, the actual stove is, you still have to do this process. And you can kind of see some of the smoke that you see might be from the fire, but most of it's actually just burning off of the actual, the chemical reaction that's happening on the actual stove panels itself. So I burned it pretty hot. You see it's full of wood. It's burning it pretty fast. I wanted to burn it fast and hot. And then you're gonna see here the stove. I think it looks really cool with the patina effect. And I'll get it from all sides here in a second. But I did this for about at least 1 hour. It probably took 2 hours and everything kind of burned and then became cool. But definitely don't leave it unattended. Definitely follow the manufacturer's instructions for both your tent and your stove. But this is what it looks like now. Now it's seasoned, and you can tell. And I'll get a shot all the way around the back, but you can see that the top is designed kind of like a venting system where it's allowed to expand and contract a bit. But it does it all the way around. And you can put a lot of wood in there. And even if you plan on getting the panel lock stove, I highly recommend watching the videos on the cylinder stoves, because I talk a lot about the different types of wood. The different types of wood that you burn in these stoves makes a big difference. But on the panel lock system, where it's not insulated with the thicker metal like the cylinder stoves are, as soon as the fire dies down, there's no heat from it. So some people will put fire bricks. If you look at Home Depot, you can get fire bricks that are designed, you can put them, actually line them at the bottom of that stove, and it will hold some more of that heat after the fire goes out. The temperature won't drop quite as quickly. But I just recommend using good hardwood, burning it nice and slow, and just making your fire last a while, because a lot of people are like, let's get this thing roaring hot, and just so much of that just goes wasted right out of the stovepipe. So make sure you're responsible with what you burn. Don't throw, painted wood and pine cones and brush and stuff like that. You really need to use good Good solid hardwood. You can use softwood too, like pine and birch. They burn faster. They're great for getting a fire started, but then the harder wood is what I prefer to just keep a nice, good, steady, warm experience in your tent. If you found this video helpful, if there's something I didn't address, please let me know in the comments. I hope you liked it. I hope it was helpful, and happy camping. And for sales, coupons, discounts, price matching, visit us at competitiveedgeproducts.com.